The reason why this ballerina lady's story is important to be talking about is because I don't care about these people. Don't care about them. Really have a hard time empathizing with billionaires. But I'm talking about it because this is a perfect case study in how a lot of U.S. American men want things to go and what's actually been happening for a while. Like I said in my other video, this is all tied to like white supremacy culture, capitalism, patriarchy. It's all tied together, right? And this trad wife crap is like the wet dream of so many of these men. And like this commenter says, I don't know if you can read it. I'm just going to read it really quick because it's not, I'm not convinced that she actually has access to any of this money. Because if there's one thing that we know about a lot of, especially like Mormon women and women in evangelical world, they can't touch the money. Men control the money. Financial abuse is at the heart of so much of this. Financial abuse is at the heart of patriarchy, really, because that's why I'm telling y'all, don't get knocked up by these men. They are either doing it, they're baby trapping you, they're going to use the courts against you, and if you have more money, now you're going to have to pay them child support and all this crap. Britney Spears, hello. There's so many examples of like really famous, really successful women with a ton of money and resources who have a little hobosexual tied to them forever through children. So that's one side of the spectrum, but this is another side where you got this billionaire dude cosplaying a cowboy. He's from Connecticut. Like, he probably has no idea what he's doing. He also pays laborers to do stuff on the farm, but won't pay for nannies to raise 8 children while she's also milking cows and crap. Anyway, this comment said, growing up, my dad had 5 wives and over 30 kids. He was a multi-millionaire and he made us live like poor people. No help, no resources. When my mom left, he never paid child support or help. So, you know, again, it was very hard for me to empathize with her because I've been so mad at her for like pushing this trad wife propaganda for so long. But I'm so glad that this reported story came out of just a journalist getting a little snapshot into the lives of a trad wife who's performing a fantasy that she's not even living herself. I would like to think she has access to the money that, I mean, like she is making so much money for this man. Even though he's a billionaire, that platform's about her, not him. But from what I understand, from what people have told me, I don't know, I don't have time to verify this, but like the business stuff and is not in her name. I don't think people understand how much financial abuse is at the heart of patriarchy. It's at the heart of everything. Everything. All oppressive systems exploit labor and hoard resources and keep people stuck. Power and resources, power is about money and resources. And when you keep women from having access to money, you are removing their power. She can't leave. Women can't leave when they don't have money. So I don't give a crap about these people. I really don't. And I want to show some tweets from people over on Twitter who are making very good points, and like just please like set aside your desire to hate this lady and blame her for choosing this even though she was 21 years old. The dude asked her out for 6 months. This is in my deep dive on YouTube. I did a whole like 55-minute video on that. Hopefully you've already seen that. This is kind of part 2. She didn't go out with him for 6 months. The way their first date, the meet cute, was he basically stalked her, found out she was flying to New York, got his daddy's company to get him in a seat next to her. So she was trapped on a plane talking to this dude. That's their first date. And they were talking about it like it was a cute story. He held her hostage on their first date. Like, where's she gonna go? He's sitting next to her. She's like, oh my God, wow, what are the chances? She didn't understand he owned the airline when it happened. And then like what, a month later they're engaged. 2 months later I think they're married. And then immediately she gets knocked up, and then he moves her to Brazil and she has 3 kids in Brazil. Like, this woman has been nothing but giving birth since she met this dude, more or less. So I don't care how many followers she has. I don't care if she was born into wealth or not. This is an issue that goes across the board. You are more screwed the less money you have. Definitely not making the point that, you know, poor little rich girl. I'm just saying that what if this woman who seems scared of her husband, who he's literally like distracting the journalist by like showing her ditch after ditch after ditch after boring stuff, and will not let her be alone with this lady, and she's like whispering and like there's so many red flags in that interview. If this like ideal Like, if she's like the number one trad wife influencer, and if this is her reality, I hope anybody who watches that content is like, oh my God, I just want the soft life. I just want to relax. I don't want to have to work. I want to stay home with my kids. I think you should be able to do that. I think you should be able to stay home with your kids, but you better make sure you got money. Better make sure that if a man if you stay home with the kids, you better have access to your own money that he can't touch. Because if you do not have money, if you can't leave, you are not choosing to stay. And money is how women leave. Resources. And these men will do everything to trap you and keep you from accessing resources. And then on top of that, you got a whole cult. This Mormons, it's a cult, right? So you got a whole cult. Like, you have the whole like conditioning behind it, plus the patriarchal conditioning in general, but this is like next level. So this is one of my favorite authors, feminist, culture critic, like one of my favorite people to learn from. Mickey Kendall, she wrote Hood Feminism and lots of other amazing things. But she did a whole thread about this, asking people to stop like focusing on the couple itself and look at the bigger issue, why we should care about this. I am mildly fascinated at the assumption that Ballerina Farm wife has control over the money. I am not sold that she ever has unfettered access to it. That model lends itself to her having a credit card tied to his accounts and nothing in her name. So many ex-trad wife posters have detailed how these marriages are financially abusive. You can be the face of a brand and still be broke because the men are the ones on all the legal paperwork as sole owners. I interviewed a woman who broke down how her business was stolen. She had the business idea and it was her hobby until it started really making money. Then he wanted to help, and next thing you know, he had trademarked it in his name while she was in the hospital after having a breech birth. She did the work, but he got the credit and the profit. We know, men stealing women's labor and their ideas has been going on forever. Einstein, most of the famous men that we know, artists, scientists, whatever, almost always it's like only were able to do that because there was a woman doing everything behind the scenes, or they literally stole all of it. And again, I know the knee-jerk is to say, well, she chose that, because that has been in my comments all day. I'm not going to say that like women have no agency. I'm not trying to infantilize them. I already said, last thing I want to do is to perpetuate the infantilization of white women, especially because that is like that misses the mark. It's like what we're trying to not do anymore. But that doesn't also mean that a cult, religion, patriarchy, and the man himself acts like a cult. Coercive control. So she may have chosen this, but she was 21. What were you doing when you were 21? I was celebrating the ability to buy alcohol. I mean, not really, because by then I was kind of over it, but you know what I mean? I am so lucky that at 21 years old, some predatory dude like this didn't enter my life, and that I also didn't have a cult conditioning and my entire community based on reinforcing this indoctrination. Because I may have very well made one mistake of getting linked to the wrong man, and my life would be very different. You would not be seeing me talking right here. I'd probably be dead, to be honest. But I'm so grateful that, I didn't date at all in my 20s, because if I was actively seeking a partner, this could be me. Maybe not this bad. I would like to think it would not be this bad, because I don't have like the cult and religion, but maybe a little like a hobo that 1 year with a hobo almost died. So anyway, but these men are pushing to set everyone's rights back. So maybe don't waste time blaming the victim and focus on what's being pushed into law. Like, that's the focus. That's why we're talking about this. It's not about this family. I don't care about this ballerina lady. I feel for her. I don't hate her as much because I can see, wow, like she seems to know that this is like messed up a little bit. I don't know if she's ever going to leave. I don't know how bad it is. I don't know these people's life. I just talk about public figures so that we can, because we all see this, we can all see an example of what's really behind it. And what's really behind it is that all these, Christian right, these Christian nationals, all of the people on the right, and probably some liberals, honestly, don't want women to have the option to lead. Don't want to share the wealth. Don't want to share resources. In their dying breath, even men on the left, they just need to have power over at least one person. They'll fight against everybody. All systems of oppression, but just let me be the king of the castle at home. All about equality, but just let me be the king baby at home. No thanks. Nobody's free till everybody is free. Even this ballerina lady. So I'm going to point out a few more red flags about this dude. Again, a lot of times I talk about celebrities and famous people. No, I don't care about them. I'm not even talking about them. I'm using it as a teachable moment, as an example of what this stuff looks like. I've told my own story plenty of times, but when we see how common this is across the board, maybe a few details look different. Well, not maybe, but the details maybe look a little different, but the theme is the same. Here's one example. Somebody apparently posted a bunch of stuff from her old blog or whatever. Y'all know I've made plenty of videos about public proposal, whether it's at the Olympics when you're winning a medal, or at the marathon that you have just run and you're going to make her moment about you, or just in general, putting someone on a jumbotron, put a lot of pressure on them to say yes in front of an audience, especially if a moment is about her. But even if not, unless you know she would want to be on a jumbotron, maybe don't make a proposal public, because it's more that's using social pressure to get her to say yes. And it's more about ego and looking like, what a romantic, what a good guy, what a nice man, everybody loves love, in front of like 50,000 people. It's all about him looking good. It's got nothing to do with her. Unless you know for a fact she would love to be on a jumbotron, don't do this. Look at this. He like, even the smallest examples of red flags that I give you, this dude did. After my Miss New York 2011, Daniel was so happy that I didn't win. I bet he's really happy she didn't win that last one either, but I think I'm gonna do a whole new other video on that article in the New York Times about her pageants. But he brought my engagement ring with him. It's in his pocket, and wanted to propose right then and there. That is another story in and of itself. But long story short, I told him to wait until we were alone. Phew. So, red flags of a narcissist, or just a man who is like very selfish. And I do not throw that word narcissist around lightly. My dad was a diagnosed narcissist before that thing was even like, people knew what that even was. Patriarchy raises men to think very selfishly and like act a lot like narcissists, but they're not all narcissists. Actual narcissism is a whole different level. Like, it's like selfishness on, a bunch of steroids. It's Anthony. He's eating a croissant. Hi. We're on our way to our anniversary weekend. Go camping. Anyway, this post was horrifying. Again, I don't have the source of this. This was on Twitter. Someone went and looked at her blog, but I can't confirm it myself. So just take everything with a little grain of salt. Daniel has been working like a dog, which means he works all the time. He leaves around 7:30 a.m. and then doesn't get home till 10 p.m. Terrible. We have a little cute house in Alphaville. What? Sorry, I'm in a car. It's hard to read this. We are safe and healthy. Henry and I don't have a car. You married a billionaire. He owns like a fleet of planes. And she doesn't have a car? Why? She doesn't have nannies for 8 children. Like hardly any help around the house. He won't pay for that. And a car. Well, you know that men will weaponize transportation against you too, right? Men will, if you have a car, they will take your car. Especially if you get with a little hobo. So whether you're the hobo or a billionaire, it's like they still somehow manage to do the same thing. I literally dated a rail rider. That's what he called it. 9 years, road to rails, like cartoonishly hobosexual. And that man used transportation as a form to control me. He had no money. Somehow used the same tactic. And then a man who owns planes won't get her a car. Why doesn't she have a car? Because the man has to drive it to work, which is about an hour and a half away. So we have really been getting some good one-on-one time, her and Henry. He loves me and I love him. I think she's talking about this baby Henry. When I get depressed, usually around Wednesday, because I haven't left the house in a few days. Again, billionaire. And I never see my husband. I just listen to Henry and try to really live in these little moments when it's just he and I in the house. We don't have too many days left until baby brother comes to greet us because this man's always got this woman pregnant. So we're really packing in the QT time, not knowing the language makes things a bit, oh my God, this is when she's in Brazil, a little bit more complicated as well. Okay, y'all know I talk about this all the time. Do not marry a man who lives in another country and go move to his country, but don't marry a man who drags you to another country. Like right after they got married, he knocked her up and moved her to Brazil. Very far away, doesn't have a car, is already taking care of babies, pregnant, about to give birth to another one, can't speak the language. I cannot, as an immigrant in France, I've been here 6 years, I spend most of my spare money on French classes. It is a very hard language. The language factor alone is a way. That's why I tell you don't marry men. I came here by myself, for me, by the way, for anyone new. I did not move here for anyone. I moved here for myself. So, taking French classes, build my life before I met my husband. But I'm telling you, because I'm in circles with women who are married to French men, a lot of them are the loneliest people I've ever met because of language, distance from family, can't leave because of immigration and their visa being tied to a man. And if they have children, they are stuck in that country, in his country. Luckily, at least this dude is not from Brazil. I mean, he's American too. I think maybe his dad's like American Brazilian on Wiki page, whatever. But again, I say this all the time. Look up the Hague Convention. If you meet a perfect foreign man that you're gonna move to go, live your best life with, don't have babies with him without reading that Hague Convention, because you're never leaving. Anyway, sorry, a little detour. Henry and I look at each other when the mailman asks us a question and are just so grateful that we at least have each other. Okay, do you see how she is so lonely, no car, stuck at home by herself with babies, and her only person to talk to, because her husband works all the time, is just gone all the time. Shocker. She can't even talk to the mailman. Her and her baby look at each other, or what, I don't know how old Henry is at this time. But if there's one thing I've heard from any mother who stays at home with children, is they are desperate for adult conversation. And, I used to nanny. That's one of the many random jobs I've had. But when I was living in LA, I nannied. And I understand. And I was just there for like 8 hours a day. I can't imagine that being my reality every single day. So, mothers are desperate to have human connection with other adults. And this woman can't talk to anyone, not even the mailman. Again, isolation. Some people in the video yesterday were like, okay, because I was talking about how now she's isolated out in Utah. Oh, where she lives is only like 40 minutes away from Salt Lake City. So, living 30 or 40 minutes outside of a city versus living in the heart of a city or in New York City, where she wanted to live, are very different things. I won't even move 40 minutes away from Lyon because do you understand how hard it is to stay connected to people when you are even 30 or 40 minutes away from a big city? And then if you live on a massive farm, can you see a neighbor? Those people, that ranch is huge. So, like, if you like try to derail my entire argument with like the dumbest little thing, like, I don't care. That doesn't disprove what I'm saying. And it doesn't matter. You can be isolated with a man in a city. Because when you are with a controlling man, I don't care who is around you. You're alone. When I was with that dude, I worked with friends. I had tons of friends in that town, but I couldn't talk to him about it. At a certain point, I was alone in my isolation of what this relationship had done to me. It's embarrassing, especially as a loud and proud feminist, to be dating someone who hates you and wants to you. Like, there's so much shame in that. Even if you were not like in a cult and a trad wife and have 8 children and are stuck on a ranch or in Brazil where you can't speak the language. You can be in your own country, speaking your own language, in a community with a lot of friends and still feel entirely alone. Isolation is not just about the physical isolation, but the fact that she is not in the city, or a city, and she's way out there milking cows all day and carrying around big old things, eggs, and making stupid bread in a $25,000 oven and all kinds of crap. Like, this man just wants her busy. And the fact that she gave up her dream to be a ballerina, spends her days rushing her children to ballerina classes, almost seems like a cruel joke on intentional cruel joke by a narcissist, calling it Ballerina Farms. Anyway, just some other tweets about that. If my husband had JetBlue money, I'd be driving a different car every day of the week, and she can't even get a car. I'm gonna read this as we're going through a tunnel. Look at this. I'm in a mountain now. I saw a video of her birthday unboxing her gift, and her husband is the heir of a major airline. All she asked for was tickets to Greece, and he gave her an apron for eggs. WTF, you could have gotten those tickets for free. Of course, they could have taken a private jet to Greece. And so back to the point of the pageant, and I'm going to do a whole separate video for that because it's like hard to do this in a car. I wish she'd won that Ms. World America. He would have passed out over how much independence and freedom she would get. And if you read that ballerina thingy, at the end, the article in The Times, not the New York Times, but The Times, the one in the UK that just came out, you get the feeling that she's basically saying the reason why she does a pageant 8 days after giving birth is it seems like the pageants are like probably, I would guess, one of the only times that she gets a break from being a mom. And even then she has to bring a newborn with her and like nurse in the middle of the pageant. One of the things that seems like a lot of moms struggle with is they're maintaining a sense of autonomy and identity because motherhood in general forces them to just focus so much on children and keeping them alive. And part of that is like normal, but like men will take this and literally use that to exploit the crap out of you and keep getting, more and more kids, not because they're going to parent those kids, because each one of those is additional labor that's going to keep her busy. And so my guess is that the pageants was a break from performing being a trad wife, because even though she doesn't even call herself a trad wife, like she's basically performing, look at my happy life and my free range children and look at all the doing ballerina, leg kick, whatever. But like I'm not convinced this woman is really happy. It sounds like maybe she's convincing herself she's happy, but I don't know. If you take nothing away from that article, she gave up her dream. And now everything she does is about him and those kids. And she doesn't ever get a moment alone. There was a child on her body the entire time she was being interviewed, if not a bunch of other kids, asking for stuff, spilling milk, raw milk, while she's trying to do an interview. Or a husband who is interrupting, talking over her, talking for her, or distracting the journalist by showing ditch after ditch after ditch and talking about some stupid business that woman did not even come there to talk about. Came there to talk to her, the wife. And he didn't like them being alone. So my guess is that she does those pageants to get a break and to reconnect with her former self pre-kids and to get a sense of autonomy, because everything is tied to being a mom and a trad wife. Oh, another tunnel, look. Anyway, let me know if you want a part 3, because I got way more to say about this. And again, it's not about this couple. I don't care about them. It is about something we are seeing across the board being pushed by conservatives because they're afraid of this. This literally came out in the New York Times yesterday. I'm going to go over this article in part 3 if you want it. This right here is exactly why they're pushing the trad wife stuff. Your grandmas were not in love with your grandpas and just wanted a bunch of babies. Most of those women were held hostage. And if you're being held hostage and you can't leave, you can't really love someone who won't let you leave. Not all grandparents, okay? Anyway, thanks for listening. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if there's anything about this story you want me to cover or that maybe I haven't seen yet. And sometimes I use people's comments in my videos, but I usually keep them anonymous. So if you drop an amazing comment and don't mind me sharing your name or want me to, let me know, because otherwise I keep people anonymous because I don't know, I'm a little protective. And let me know if you heard the comment song. Welcome to the comment song anniversary edition. Welcome to the comment song. That's the dress I got period blood on. Welcome to the comment song. Yep, it was a COVID wedding, yeah. Wait till you see the town hall. That's the town hall, the Marie that we got married at for free. Wait, hold on, here comes the comment song. Look at that. Waving like some weird princess story. But that's just the town hall where you have to get married. Oh, look at that cute photo. The comment song is ending soon. Write your comment. Isn't that cute? Happy anniversary to us. Smack it. Smack the booty. Comment song. Okay, everybody finish your comments. Comment song is ending soon. 3, 2, 1, 8, 4.